Starting off with our tools, we will be using nylon jaw pliers, wire cutters, chain nose pliers, and round nose pliers. Next we need a bead, and I chose this cultured pearl. To create the band of the ring, we will be using this 18 gauge solid brass wire. To attach the bead, we will use 22 gauge wire. We will also be using a ring mandrel to shape the ring. I chose a size 8 for my ring. We are going to begin by pulling out a length of the 18 gauge wire and straightening it with our nylon jaw pliers. Using the round nose pliers, we are going to place the wire into the very tip of the pliers and create a small loop. Holding it firmly, twist the wire to create a loop. With the loop made, we will then use the pliers to adjust that loop so that it is centered directly over the long end of the wire. Once we have centered the loop, we're going to place the wire back into the pliers and bend the wire over, bringing that end of the wire up and then back down to create a tighter curve in the wire. Placing our pliers into that curve, we are now going to begin creating the band of the ring. Holding the wire tightly in the pliers, we are going to bring it directly over to the side. Readjusting our pliers, we are then going to bring the wire back into the opposite direction. To create these bends so that they are the same width and shape every time, you could place a piece of tape into the jaws of your pliers so that you make sure that you hold the wire at the same depth into the pliers every time. And we are just going to repeat this pattern until we have the wire for the band of the ring as long as we need it. Once we have created the initial zigzag of the design, we can go back in with our round nose pliers and tighten up the bends in the wire. With this part of the design, you can make these bends in the wire as tight and close together as you want, or you can leave them more open for a looser look. Next, we are going to place the wire onto the ring mandrel to make sure that it is the length that we need. For this design, the bead is part of the band, so we need to allow space for that. Once we have determined the length of wire that we need for the ring we are making, we are then going to take our round nose pliers and create a loop that matches the first one on the other end of the wire. Bending the wire up and away from the band of the ring, we are then going to adjust our pliers so that we can bend the wire all the way around into a loop. Using the wire cutters, we are going to clip off the excess wire. If needed, we can adjust the shape of the loop with the chain nose pliers. Checking the size of the ring on the mandrel, it looks like I need to readjust the wire. Tightening the zigzags of this design will naturally shrink the overall length of the band. Using the round nose pliers as I am here, or the chain nose pliers, you can continue adjusting this design until it is to your liking. Now we are going to use the 22 gauge wire to attach the bead onto the ring. Smoothing out a length of wire, we are then going to add the bead onto the wire. Threading the wire through the outside to inside of one of the loops, we are then going to wrap that short end of the wire and secure it onto the band. Draw a short length of wire through the loop. Then using your fingers or a pair of pliers, wrap that short end of wire around and around until you have reached the end. Now with the chain nose pliers, we are going to make sure that the end of the wire is secured on the inside of the ring. Now that we have secured one end of the wire, we are going to move to the other. To do this, we are going to leave a length of wire and then snip off the excess wire with our wire cutters. We want both sides to be matching, so that means we are going to take our end of the wire and thread it through the opposite loop from the outside to the inside of the ring. Pulling that end of the wire down through the center of the ring, we will then secure the wire onto the band. Holding the ring tightly, we are going to wrap that wire around and around to secure the bead onto the ring. When this wire wrap matches the size or width of the first one that we made, we will then cut off any excess wire with the wire cutters. Then using the chain nose pliers, we will tighten down that end of wire, making sure that it is secure in the wrap. Checking the size of the ring on the ring mandrel, if we need to, we can then go back with the round nose pliers to either tighten or loosen the zigzags of the band. And now you have completed the ring. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.